Okay. I mean, he will join us anytime when he's done.
Hello, good evening and welcome to today's round table. And today we're going to be discussing uh, electronic voting systems, Nigerian diaspora, and the role Nigerians in diaspora play in shaping and advancing democracy in Nigeria. On the broadcast today to discuss this topic with me, in no particular order, is Chief Valiant Samsi Ezoba. He's a global director of EDIP, which is Edo State Development Industrialization Partners Limited. Is a consortium that came together to invest in agriculture in Edo State, and they are doing massive things back in Edo State, and it's based in Massachusetts. Chief, I want to welcome you to the program.
Thank you so much, and my fellow guests, thank you for coming on board.
Yes, and I have Dr. Daniel Ocho. Dr. Daniel Ocho is a global health expert, and he is also the CEO and founder of Do Care Foundation worldwide. Doc, I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, and I have Mr. Charles Ustatuedopolo. He's a US-based entrepreneur and public commentator. So I want to welcome you to the program. Okay, and I'm your uncle.
Thank you very much, Doc, for having me.
Okay, and I'm your uncle, Dr. Dennis Akurugi. To kickstart this discussion, Chief, electronic voting system. Nigeria is used to voting the option A4. That is, you have to physically go to the polling unit, take a ballot paper, you thumbprint your hand in ink, and you cast a vote for your preferred candidate, which is done in secrecy. The other person is not meant to know who you have voted for. But recently, most countries they are adopting electronic voting system. Do you think Nigeria is ripe for electronic voting system, considering the level of which our electricity or the power has been epileptic in Nigeria, and the technological requirements such process requires for it to be in place? Do you think Nigeria is ripe for electronic voting at this time?
Considering the infrastructure we have, we are not ready. But considering that we are very resilient people who will always find solution to tasking situations like that, we are educated enough to know what is good. I know our people are prepared for anything that will make Nigeria good. But as a country, considering what is on ground, the infrastructure, no, I think they are not ready.
Thank you, Chief, for that response. You believe we are not ready to take on that tax of electronic voting system. Dr. Daniel. Estonia is a country that has fully embraced electronic voting system. It took them quite a while of investment, and they are used to e-governance. Uh, because during the lockdown, most government meetings and executive meetings were held through electronic voting systems. Most government they became used to holding meetings through Zoom and other electronic platforms. Uh, Considering those that Nigeria has one of the highest population of people in diaspora, and a lot of us want to participate in the electoral process back in Nigeria. Don't you think this is like a we are being disenfranchised to partake in the political process back in Nigeria? What is your take on this?
Well, thank you so much for that question. If you ask me, I will, start by trying to define what the diaspora is all about and the meaning of voting. Because if you understand these two ways, we're able to understand the reason why we have to adopt the system, to allow diaspora voting. Okay. And if you look into Africa, we have about 54 countries as of today, and so many countries in Africa have adopted the, to e-vote, and I think every country or any country that wants to, practice democracy, have to adopt the system. A country like Botswana, like you mentioned, Ethiopia, Mozambique, they're all practicing the e-voting, allowing the diaspora to vote. Looking at the world today, we have about 197 countries all over the world, globally, and they are adopting the system. I think the last time I listened to Professor Yakubu is an erudite scholar, he was trying to talk to the National Assembly to expedite the process, to allow the citizens to vote practice e-voting, and also to allow the diaspora to also to vote. And in my interest is that up to now nothing has been done about it. To me, if you ask me, I would say is they are trying to franchise some of the countries, some of the citizens, because a country that practices democracy should act shouldn't act like a tyrant country. So I think something has to be done about it, because e-voting is the way to go, and that's why voting is the way to go if your country wants to move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Daniel, for your contributions and for your take on that. Mr. Chaz, this question is to you. Considering one of the disadvantages and drawbacks of most countries adopting electronic voting system, such as cyber attack and crashing into most of these software systems, what do you think should be the investment or should be the watchword Nigeria should, or the drastic step Nigeria should take in mitigating such circumstances if we eventually want to go full time into electronic voting?
Your is a bit fractured. I can't hear very well. But if your question has to do with the mitigation against electronic or system hacking of electronic voting, is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. Yes. Cyber attack.
Okay.
And,
you see, of course. What did you say? Sorry, I don't know what's happening to my transmission. Anyway, if your question is the mitigation against computer hacking of electronic vote and all that, I think that is a serious problem because you have cybersecurity experts everywhere, and you have computer modules and computer systems that can guard against hacking. The problem is not necessarily about hacking the system, hacking the electronic voting process. It has a lot to do with how ready we are as a country to adopt electronic voting. Like the infrastructures are not ready. I agree, but I think we should not be looking at holistically approaching the issue of electronic voting. I think it should go pari passu with the voting that is already in place. It should be an option just like it is in the United States. If you vote via electronic option, you have it at your beck and call. If you want to walk to the polling booth to vote manually, you should also be able to access that option. In terms of mitigating against computer hacking, that's not a problem. There are systems that are resilient to hackers. I know there's no system that is 100% proof, but there are systems that are resilient.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Charles, for your contribution. Chief, my question goes to you. We are looking at the role of Nigerians in the diaspora. The 2023 general election is around the corner, and just like what happened in Edo State, how those indigenous world over, especially those in diaspora, played a very critical role in the re-election of His Excellency, the Governor of Edo State. Same pattern is beginning to play now in the 2023 election. More particularly that of the Labour Party presidential candidate, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. His support base is largely from people in diaspora, because it's believed that those of us in the diaspora, we are exposed to democracy. We know the right choice, as against our folks back home who just believe they play party politics. They are financially induced, what they call in the political parlance, stomach infrastructure politics. They don't want to heed to reason to see that credible candidates are thrown up. You and I are witness to the fact how we came up with these primaries, how delegates were bought over with huge sums of money to throw up presidential candidates that are misfits and people will not be proud of voting. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is that those of us in the diaspora, we are taking the lead and we are showing our folks back home how credible a candidate should be and how they can rally around a very credible candidate and ensure that he's being put to office. So what is your thought about the role of the diaspora community in ensuring that democracy is sustained in Nigeria?
Thank you for this question. It's a very big and complex one. I want you guys to note that we have three sets of group in diaspora. There are Nigerians who came here to study, who migrated with their family because they want a better life. There are Nigerians whose parents are here or relatives are here who invited their siblings or relatives to join them. there are another group of Nigerians who work so hard to make sure that they left that system that isn't working. The last one that we always ignore, and we also know they are here, we may not count them, and those who have done wrong back home, maybe they have committed crime and they have opportunity to run here too. They are with us. So each time somebody from diaspora is talking like we are talking now, those we went to school together back home, those who know us very well, know that we are speaking the truth, and the truth hurts. So many of them in political positions wouldn't have been there if we were home, because the space would have been tighter for us to struggle. Now that they are there, they feel jealous. They don't want us to tell them how to rule that country. They are doing everything possible that diaspora voice, nothing about us can't, so that they can begin to exploit the system. So what I can say is that those of them who are already enjoying our patronage, they should keep up the momentum, while we too begin to look for mercenaries that will join us abroad to further help those we think should rule our country. If we leave it for them, just another example, I don't think you cannot get 10% of Nigerians who can vouch that any of their relatives are representing them very well back home. We are like sacrificial lamb. They think our life end here, we don't have a stake back home, but they themselves, they are richer than us from all that they have stolen on our behalf. So they are destroying the system such a way that it can never be comfortable for us to come and challenge them. They are not going to build the road. They are not ready to build the school. They are not trying to provide anything that we think we are enjoying here. And they have the opportunity to use diplomatic passport, office connection, political relevance to travel here for holiday and go back there and enjoy the life better than we who work 247. Like, the question is, we are ready this time around. Let's use 2023 as a battle ready to test whoever we think is qualified. Talk to our people who listen to us and see what we can do with them.
Thank you, Chief, for that response. It's a very, very thought out response. The role we in diaspora are playing. And still on that, Dr. Ochon, I still want to remain on that. Nigerians in the diaspora, we remit last year we remit about $19.2 billion as remittance back home in Nigeria, and this is contributing about 0.4 of Nigeria's GDP. It means Nigerians in the diaspora has a voice. We play a very critical role to the economy back home in Nigeria. Considering these impacts we are having in the Nigerian economy, how well do you think this can be galvanized to begin to shaping policies and policies back home in Nigeria? Also, given the fact that you and I, we have charitable organizations because of the inability of government to provide the right social system to cater for the poor and vulnerable back home in Nigeria. So many infrastructural deficits in which private individuals are beginning to step up to fill in the gap. Government as what the functions and duties government are supposed to do. We private individuals are now beginning to step in to fill in this gap. So how well do you think our foreign remittance can be used as a negotiating point to influence government policies and programs to better impact and affect the poor and the people back home in Nigeria? What's your take on that?
All right. Thank you so much for that question. If you ask me, let me tell you a story. As of 2 months, from 2 months ago, I told my manager, if anybody comes to the office in Nigeria to ask for help, ask them to show you their PVC. Sorry, I think that aspect, be a way to convey that spirit of understanding of our people in Africa to understand the reason why they need to get their PVC in order to have the right candidates come 2023. Because all of us cannot be a political. This is the time that we have to come out. This is the time we have to, educate our people with our experiences we have had so far living in the Western world. You see, politics is one thing, and it's something that everybody has to understand. We cannot say not participate in politics that people do because we have left that vacuum for a long time. That is the reason why the lunatics have occupied the space, using it to torment the country. Now, I tell you this. You know that the life expectancy globally, Nigeria has, which is something to look at, something to be ashamed of. Somalia in Africa has life expectancy of 57. Can you imagine? Because we have not been able to vote in the right people in the office. Every time I go for a presentation or World Global Leadership Conference, when they talk about Nigeria, I will become a basher myself. But I said to myself, no, this is not the way everybody. I think some of us are in diaspora that we have one organization together. We can use that means as a blessing, in order to educate people in Africa or people in Nigeria. Okay, it's hard when we start talking to them the reason why we have to vote or elect the right leader in the office. And we can't run away from it because it's in our power, to educate them. Also, to elect the right person into the office. Let's use whatever we have, both financial aspect, knowledge aspect, to try to educate people in Nigeria the reason why we can vote the right person in the office. I think by doing that, we're able to we're going to get it right this 2027. I promise you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Daniel, for your response. And Mr. Charles, can you hear me? Mr. Dukwell, can you hear me? Can you hear me? It seems not so. You say you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, it's believed by most people. People think.
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yes, I said it is believed by most people. They believe that politics in Nigeria is a dirty game. They believe people who are upright, people who are clean, should not participate in politics. So such process and such thinking has led to we having misfits in the body of politics in Nigeria. We see that most presidential candidates now, they don't have the basic academic qualification. Most of them alleging, or rather stating, that they misplaced their uh, even their primary school certificate and cannot produce it. You know, That's just the level in which the politics in Nigeria has debased or degraded to, because most people like us who have the degrees and academic qualification, we believe that politics is a dirty game, and we've left the stage for these people, who can, you know, swim in the mud to take on the politics in Nigeria. So, what is your take about being politics being a dirty game, and how well can people who are enlightened, participate in the political process, electoral process back in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. I'd like to take our mind. Politicians were politicians of class. The likes of Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Tafawa Balewa. These were specimen good human beings. For all, politics has been messed up by the incursion. And over time, good people, good intentions for the country have been so discouraged the way the military handled even the past politicians. Let's take a value overthrown by the current when he was when he was general in the military. So politicians are there. So how do we go up? An arrogant or somebody who doesn't. He was a professor for God. A lot of people lose interest in Nigerian politics. These politicians have a whole lot of people to get parties. It's normal. That I think not in reality. Nigeria has a country persons from all sort of background coming and applying trade as politicians. Garbage. You're going to get garbage at the end of the day. Joy is that times are changing. A lot of people are beginning to
Okay. No, your audio is shaking.
I don't.
At this
honestly,
point
I
now,
don't know why.
yes. Let's take
Is
a
it any
break.
better now?
Yeah, let's take a short break from a message from our sponsors at the Dennis Aggregate Foundation, and when we come back, I will continue with the discussion. Thank you. Yes, welcome back to the discussion on a global perspective, diaspora voting, and the role of Nigerians in diaspora in furthering and advancing democracy in Nigeria. Chief, let me revisit that point you are trying to raise about Nigerians in the diaspora trying to participate in the political process back in Nigeria. Um, there's an incident that occurred recently of an Edo brother, uh, Mr. Uh, Officer Edegbe, Clement Edegbe. He was promised the local government party ticket before he left the US. When he got to Nigeria, uh, that ticket was given to someone else, and this after they've collected about, according to him, he said they collected almost 30 million naira from him. So, what do you think these people think of Nigerians living in the diaspora? Do they think we have a stake back home in Nigeria that we can actually participate in the political process back in Nigeria, that we can contribute our quota, that we have what it takes uh, to take on shoulder to shoulder with them to lead and to show our capacity back in Nigeria? What's your take on that?
Um, to be honest, that process was faulty. That process was faulty because a statement like you have an understanding with some people that you will be compromised to take certain position is already corruption in itself. So I say that with all sense of responsibility. But what was also not good is that for those who don't have what you want to say, come and buy, or for them to collect money and they never sold, that also create double jeopardy for the game. But like they said politics is a dirty game. I don't think it's the politics that is a dirty game. It's those playing it that are dirty. The definition, if we look at what they've benefited in the political process, you build a house that is what your own generation cannot even build. You build it in 4 years and you say it's a dirty game. No, I think that is not a dirty game. I think they are using that word to just push us aside. We should begin to build coalitions abroad. There's nothing wrong if we too from abroad can register a diaspora and political party where people can from here one day go home and contest without having to go through those their processes of special people screening people. Because just ask yourself, those screening you in the name of ward chairman, local chairman, whatever, why won't they go? Because they don't have the proper instrument to go and do the right thing there. If they have the education, if they have the skill of what is required, they themselves won't settle for chairman. They would like to aspire. So, and again, the way the system has been, remember that all this their end class doesn't really have salary or anything to look forward to. So they want to make those coming, thinking that if we allow you go, you will never come back to say hi to us again. But I don't want to spend my time on that experience. My advice to people who want to go and contest is that we have so many political parties that you can join and groom with them. Maybe they won't exploit you in that, except you want to join the already made ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for your response to that question. You also added that politics is not a dirty game, but those players, they are the ones who are dirty. And also, you made us understand that those back home who screen, who are in charge of the screening, don't have what it takes to participate in the system. Um, Dr. Daniel Cho, I want to throw this question to you. Um, we see there is a deficit or a shortage of actual government representation in Nigeria. There is absence of social system in Nigeria. There's debt or deficit of infrastructure uh, provisions or amenities in Nigeria, such as electricity. Uh, there's no unemployment benefit like is obtainable uh, in the Western world. Uh, what do you think the diaspora community now, or if Nigerians in the diaspora, if they participate in the governance in Africa or back in Nigeria, what difference or what impact, having lived in the Western world where everything works, where someone who is without job can get unemployment benefit, and how infrastructures and amenities function here in the Western world, how highways are being taken care of, when there's a failure in any road network or system, you see people mobilized to take care of such, public goods. What do you think? Do you think that if people in the diaspora, if they participate in the political process back home in Nigeria, there's going to be a difference? And how well do you think we can begin to, participate and engage in the political process back in Nigeria?
Right. This is a good question. You know, I'm going to try to be civil to answer this question. Sometimes when we talk about politics, I get mad because of the infrastructural status of the country. You I think there's one thing about anyone that travel to overseas to study. One, you get exposure. Two, your level of reasoning will change, which will help you whenever you come back to Nigeria. You will see things like, oh, this is normal way of doing things. You will understand because of the exposure or the educational level. You understand that this is not the right way, to do things. Let me use this as an instance. When Dr. Chikwe, when he was appointed as the head of COVID committee in Nigeria, things changed because he trained in abroad. He has working in abroad. He was the one who introduced, when there's an outbreak of any disease in the world, we have what is called active surveillance and passive surveillance. Active surveillance is for you to monitor it and find out what is the problem. Why is it an outbreak? Why is Ebola or why is COVID? What happened? What causes it? And the active is for you to, start diagnosing, to know what you are going to do to stop the disease, from reoccurring, or gather some data, for you to use data to, produce vaccines or educate people for them to understand what to do. Now, Chike was the one who stabilized the surveillance system of the country, which is Nigeria we're talking about today. But because he was exposed, because he has been living in diaspora all the years of his life. So I think with this explanation, I think the people in diaspora will do better if they are being elected to the office. And the one thing we should understand that politics is a profession. If you understand this, you'll be able to understand that if you are being elected, whether you are living whether you are being a student or living abroad, you should understand that you have to do your job. So to answer your question, I think people living in diaspora will be able to fix up what is happening in other states, the infrastructural decay, the electricity. You and I have been living here for years. Have you ever seen when lights? Have you ever stayed for 5 hours without electricity in the States? As I'm talking to you right now, there's a surgery going on in my hospital in Nigeria. There's no light. I'm running diesel for the past 3 days in Abuja. Not really in another state like Edo, Imo State, Abia. I'm talking about the capital of the country that has not been light for 2 days. So how do we get into this mess? Because we have not elected the right leader, to take care of the country, Nigeria. So I think there's 100% different. Someone is not who has been living in diaspora and someone who is in Nigeria. Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Daniel, for your response. You believe there's a difference, and you believe Nigerians in diaspora can create uh, a great impact if given the opportunity to participate in the political process in Nigeria. Uh, Mr. Charles, can you hear me? Mr. Dopolo, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, my question to you, my question goes like this. Uh, Electronic voting system, uh, it is introduced in Nigeria, how do you think is going to curb and eradicate electoral malpractices like snatching of ballot papers, involvement of hoodlums? They come and destroy the voting process, try to make the election results good, the way of their principle. Do you think that if Nigeria embraces electronic voting system, the issue of malpractices will be a thing of the past? What's your thought on this?
Thank you very much for that question. The truth is this: there is no perfect election anywhere in the whole world. Election, one way or the other, are subject to practices. It all depends on the level of such malpractices and the extent to which it affects the outcome. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So the introduction of the instances of electoral malpractices. But the truth is this, right? If you have, like what is currently on 100% going to the ballot stations of the pool of the election ground to vote manually. If there's an incident of material snatching or the votes that are cast being snatched, it means the 100 votes that were cast by those 100 persons will be affected. But if there's an introduction of e-voting, and let's assume 40 out of those 100 persons per particular booth decide to vote via the electronics, via the e-voting, it only means that the 60 persons that will be going to the booth to vote are going to be exposed to such electoral malpractices. So definitely it's going to reduce incidences. But the truth is this, right? In Nigeria, we've perfected the act of being, to speak. If we are able to take away manual voting in Nigeria, I'm telling you, these same politicians will go throughout the rest of the world to find hack the electronic system to be able to become successful. So the truth is this: it's going to reduce the incidence. It can never eradicate it. But like I said initially, if there are procedures and put in place, government is the way to go in Nigeria. And of course, like you all know, electronic voting is in line with international best practices in electioneering. Yes, it's going to reduce it, but it cannot eradicate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Satoendo Bola. You make us understand that electronic voting system can reduce the incidence of electoral malpractices, but cannot eradicate it. Thank you for your contribution. And still on that same question, Chief, of the introduction of electronic voting system into the processes in Nigeria. We see that it's been, they tried to use it in this last, I think the 2019 election, the transmission of results. And they say they have a back server. And all of a sudden, that server went missing. You know, so what do you think electronic voting system will do in the process in Nigeria? Do you think it's going to eradicate? We're going to get it right using the electronic voting system in terms of when you cast your vote, when it collates the results and transmission of results from the polling station to the residents, the annex office, that of Abuja. Do you think electronic voting system is going to solve this issue we're having? And also, don't also forget that of Ocean election, while election was going on, the result was about to be announced. They called someone on the phone. The election was postponed, and they called for a rerun election. Do you think e-voting is going to solve this issue? What's your take on that?
Thank you. What I'm going to tell you is difficult for people to say it, but I witnessed what I'm going to tell you today. And I will pinpoint two areas. In e-voting, it has its disadvantage. In Nigeria, I don't know about other countries. You see, the best option to vote that would have worked for us as Nigerians was option A4, suggested by Babangida. But people did not accept it because they restrict you to say, if you contest for any elective position, you must not live in that area, minimum 4 months. The people must know you and they must know that you live with them. So Nigerians didn't like that because they want their children from Lagos to come and do councillor in their village, or they want to impose their children on us. The second thing that I witnessed is that it happened at Wonde. So this story today, those who were there, if they watch this video, they will remember. There was this particular election they did, and there were a lot of trouble everywhere. By then, when they do this election, they will count at that unit. At that unit, everybody who came to vote already know who won. Remember, I'm talking about unit, not the entire ward now. So this particular teacher, in his unit, they already know who won. In his ward, they already know who won. But because he's a school teacher and he's one of those chosen by INEC, they expected them to come to the place called AO. They call it Collation Center. At that Collation Center, those are where some of these money bags, those who think they have power with government, they will be instigating the INEC officials, party agent, to write their desired figures, which will alter the original figure that has been declared in public earlier. That day I was there, it was a midnight, like 2 a.m. They are collating to say they need to take this thing to Benin. And this particular teacher was asked to inflate or change his result. He said, no, it's not going to change. There was argument. They tried to beat him. They tried to kill him. He said he preferred to die. Until this very particular individual who by the government of the day that time was like supervising that thing near his house. So that's where they put this very collection center. He demanded to know why the man did not want to change the result to their choice. The man came and he raised 3 questions. Are we leading? They said yes. They were already leading. 2, he asked the man, why don't you want to do this? The man said his own daughter is writing WAEC in that village. And everybody in that village already know who won his ward, who won his unit. So if he come here and change it and they go to know that he did that, they will kill or something will happen to his daughter. He doesn't want anything to happen to his daughter. They better accept the result like that or it's not changing. So honestly, this political guy gave that man that night, I think 100,000. That is truly shows that the man love his family. If not, he would have compromised by taking money and doing what then asked them to do. So what I'm saying, that these are how where problems start. It's not that feed. All those boys busy stealing, fighting over how to vote. Whatever you get there, there's another coalition spot that government need to shine their eyes on. That is where they need to bring, for instance, different departments to say, okay, we have police there, we have army there, we have clergymen there, supervising that hall, not politicians or those in political positions supervising it. From that place, they will later take the result to another sub-collecting body, which is an INEC office. They also have rights to either inflate, take money, and change. These are how the figure finally get ready for release. So the advantage of voting E is the best, but again, you know, when so they are like overseas here in abroad, when we vote, it transmits instantly to the server, and it's possible for in this country that the police will be getting it, the immigration may be getting it, everybody's getting what is coming to that server at the as you vote, and it's posted. But I took in Nigeria system, they don't mind restricting it to only INEC, and that will make INEC to still falsify whatever they want to release. But if they assure us that when they vote like that, it's going to be shared, that is even possible that when you send out your vote, even the government house or federal agency will see it, then I'm sure Nigeria is ready. But that is the only place. Those collation spots, as they are collecting the e-result, will they change it? I'm not looking at hacking. Hacking is the extreme. That one is extreme. Before people want to hack, they want to spoil. They are not doing it to really favor anybody. So that's how I see it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for your contributions. It's a very thought out contribution about the collating experience you had at one the collation center. Dr. Daniel Ochu, by way of wrap up, uh, what are you expect as a humanitarian uh, uh, as publicly known in Nigeria of your humanitarian activities in Nigeria? What will be your expectations of those in government in providing the basic necessities of life to to the underserved and the and those who are challenged back in Nigeria, such as providing them some of the United Nations uh, sustainable development goals like end hunger. I know you just finished a, well, I say, crusade about end hunger in Nigeria. What do you think should be expectation of those in government in catering for the vulnerable group in Nigeria? What are your expectations, and what do you demand of those in government or in governance in Nigeria? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Doug. I really like this question. You know, but I'm going to summarize it because if I start talking, I don't
And
think
also,
we'll.
do you want partnership with government?
All right. Okay. Um, One, you see, the the problem here is about accountability, you know, and corruption. Do you know that there are so many resources out there in Nigeria? Like, take for instance, the Minister of Women Affairs in Nigeria. There is a particular money given to her annually to take care of problems, like underserved individuals and communities. But the money end up going to someone's pocket. You know, I remember vividly that was last year. The minister of the minister also said that she fed a whole community with 5 billion naira. I was I was asking myself, I know in a community where, like I know in US here, they feed secondary K1 to K6 students. I was asking myself if a city like or a city like Miami can, if at the end of the day they don't spend such amount of money, how could Nigeria? I mean, how we going to spend such amount to feed only Enugu as a whole? So I just laugh over the news when I hear about it. And I must tell you this: I was in a seminar, not really a seminar, a kind of it has to do with making decision in health. We are targeting people's healthy 2023, 2023. So there's some certain amount of money given to Minister of, we have Chairman Committee on Cancer Society of Nigeria. Now tell me, last year, I don't want to quote the amount he was given to, tell me, so many people are suffering from cancer. How many free tests has he done from the money? How many treatments has he provided with the money given to him? You see, this boils down to accountability and corruption. There was a meeting last time. They were asking me. I said, no, don't release that money to that office in Nigeria because they should ask him the one you have been giving to for the past 4 years. What do you use the money for? You see, people are suffering. Just like if you go to my page, you see how people were rushing for food, ordinary food. The family was even crying that 3 days have not eaten. They were praising like as if food is everything in the world. When my team went to feed them in their community. So I think accountability has a major role to play. There's so much money in the country. There's so much money in Nigeria. To take care of the underserved communities. Where is the money going to? Who is taking the money? Who is accounting for all these funds? When I was working in Nigeria as a doctor, I was one of the committees, that said no, under from the age of 0 to 5 years should receive free treatment, free drugs, and we implemented the policy. It was going on, but as I'm talking to you right now, it's not. I mean, it has stopped. When you go to government hospital from the age of 0 to 5 years, you should receive a free treatment. The same thing applicable to sickle cell patients. Sickle cell patients from the age of 1 year to 12 years should receive free treatment in the country. The fund has been provided. But last month, July 19th, we hosted the World Sickle Cell Day. We took so many histories of warriors who call them warriors. They said if they go to the hospital, they charge them to pay money for this, money for that. And I begin to wonder what is going on in the country. So, well, if you ask me, I would say the government needs to look into this. It's high time we hold people accountable. Because and they find a way to kill corruption in the country. So we are open, like the Blue Care Foundation, Doctors on Call, we are open for government partnership, anything, honestly, anything that can help us to sustain that development goals. Go one, go two, go three, and before, especially, we are ready to have it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Daniel Chung. And Mr. Charles Ekopolo, your final take as an US based entrepreneur. Uh, what are your expectations of government back home in bringing up entrepreneurs back in Nigeria, especially uh, investment in people, investment in small, medium scale enterprises. The opportunities open to entrepreneurs in the US differs from that uh, exposure that people are exposed to back in Nigeria. What are your expectations from those people coming into governance in 2023 and henceforth? What are the things you are looking at from those people aspiring to go into leadership in Nigeria?
My expectation is that the oncoming leaders should create an enabling environment for people to come over to Nigeria and invest. The truth is this: living in diaspora or living in Western world has given some of us the opportunity to acquire certain skills, and those skills, when we take them back home, we should be able to use it to better our country. But the major problem is Nigerian politicians seriously don't care about the next person. The only person they care about is themselves, how to line their pockets and how to further their ambition. Even if their ambition the dreams of those of us in diaspora, they will do that. Will do that. So my hope and prayer is that we get it right by electing the right people, those people who understand the value of those of us who are in diaspora. Those politicians who understand that we have a lot to contribute. Those politicians who understand that the diaspora, to a very large extent, is the way to go for the future. Because the truth is, Nigeria is vastly underdeveloped. With the resources left, right, and center, is pathetic. So if we have politicians who are ready to open up the country for us to go back to invest, I am telling you, a lot of us will go there. If they are able to take care of power, take care of security, take care of the government policies that will make it easier for some of us to go back home and invest, I think Nigeria will be flushed with entrepreneurs from the diaspora who will go back there, invest, and improve the lives of the people. And before I finish this particular talk, there's something that beats me whenever I think about it. That is the disenfranchisement of those of us in diaspora. I want to make something clear to us and to those people who are listening to us. The disenfranchisement is tactical. It's systematic. These guys know what they are doing, and I'm going to justify it. The diaspora community has, depending on whose authority you are quoting, some will say 50 persons, some will say 17 million persons, numbers, but let's take it 1 million. So if 1 million people are truth, the diaspora community will be the game changer in every Nigerian politics or election, as the case may be. In 2015, Buhari defeated Jonathan with 2.5 million votes. Imagine if 10 million people in diaspora voted. I'm sure the results would have been different today. In 2019, Buhari defeated Atiku with about 4 million votes. Just imagine if 15 million Nigerians in diaspora are allowed to vote, that would have been a game changer. And let me tell you why they are disenfranchising those of us in diaspora. Because they know that we are a game changer. You see, there's a section of country that has a huge amount of people in diaspora, while there's another section of the country that of course you can count the number of diaspora in your fingertips. So those people are living in the other section of the country that don't have a lot of people in diaspora. They know that if they open up the channel for those of us in diaspora to vote, they will not become they want to be. Look at
Yes.
just what happened last year. The TIG nations the TIG nations in America, they wrote a protest letter to the House of Rep, asking and demanding for government to explain why there's a continuous herdsmen attack in Benue State. And what did the Deputy Speaker of House of Representatives do? He practically shut down that protest. He said, so long the Nigerians are not living in Nigeria, they have no rights basically to protest about what is happening in their own state. So it's a systematic disenfranchisement. They know what they are doing because they don't have a lot of people out here in diaspora, as against those of us from the other section of the country that have a lot of people in diaspora, not just a lot of diaspora, a lot of enlightened Nigerians and serious Nigerians who love Nigeria and who are ready to change of Nigeria. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Edopolo, for that contributions. I think I want to share a similar uh, thought with you. I do believe it's deliberate attempt by whoever is making the policies to shut those of us out in diaspora. And also, I also believe also that because of the demographics of those of us who are residents in the diaspora, most of us are from certain geographical area in Nigeria, as against the geographical area in which they represent. They believe uh, it's going to be, you know, uh, a massive vote for a particular region if electronic voting should be allowed in Nigeria. So, since they constitute a majority in the National Assembly, from time to time they've been kicking against that to allow for diaspora voting in Nigeria because they believe that most of Nigerians living in the diaspora comes from a particular region, a particular geographical aspect in Nigeria. Chief, what is your final words before we say our goodbye? You have the global director of EDIP and you point to investment bank in Benin City. Uh, what are your expectations of for forthcoming government in Edo State? Do you want continuous support to your venture in Edo State? What are your expectations back home? Thank you. You are muted.
Once again, thank you for giving us this opportunity to also talk about our company. Our company is Edolite Developmental Industrialization Partners. We are Nigerians, more of Edo origin, who have decided to put our resources together to see how much we can do because there's a saying that Benin is the cradle of black civilization. If we were truly civilized, we should have intelligence to bypass this conventional government that's not working to think of ways to create employment for our people. So as it is, we do it like Osusu. I think Nigerians understand what that means. We put some money together each month to ensure that we are doing something back home. We are currently concentrating on agriculture in Edo, but we want to do more. We started when we thought something will not happen in Nigeria, but I must also say, no matter how we look at it, for Edo, I see a lot of investors going there like every other day, and we're also there doing our bit. So, like I said, it's never too much for the development of our people. So, having said that, let me go and talk about the question you asked. I think for me to be concentrating Edo, that would be very myopic. Edo election is still very far from the border. So let's look at Nigeria to say, I look forward to people who have good heart. I look forward to meeting Nigerians who will not always say, what can I have from the cake? Than what can I bring to bake the cake? Let us begin to change our attitude, stay positive, be our brother's keeper, gradually, not war. Let's gradually send these people that are old away from the scene and gradually take those who are not educated enough from the scene. And we know them, those who are truly troublemakers, let's take them to the corner. And those of us who are educated, politics is not dirty. Let's go and see how we can change our country. Thank you, my brother, for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen, for coming to the roundtable discussion. I want to appreciate each and every one of you. I hope those listening to us learn one or two things from those of us living in the diaspora. I want to thank you for your contributions and for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Happy holidays to you all.